And now it's time for Development Debates, where we dig deeper into some of the questions shaping the future and present of China. Today, our debate topic is if it's the right time for China to collect an inheritance tax. A Chinese media source recently reported that Shenzhen in China's Guangdong province will launch an inheritance tax pilot program. It aroused fierce debate on the issue. On February 5th, the State Council announced that it would collect the inheritance tax at an appropriate time. Since then, it seems to have created concern amongst China's wealthy. Although it has not been implemented in China, a growing number of wealthy people have tried to avoid the inheritance tax by buying larger life insurance packages. A few days ago, CITIC Prudential Life Insurance Company in Beijing signed an insurance policy of about $32 million. It's the largest insurance policy in the mainland. According to a report by Beijing Normal University, China's tax revenues could increase to about $32 billion per year. That is, if the government collects an inheritance tax. It also highlights the privilege afforded to China's wealthiest. These wealthy Chinese people account for less than 1% of the total population, but they own more than 50% of the social wealth. Dr. Feng Xiaobin, an economics PhD, said that China is capable of collecting the tax now. In 2002, China's per capita GDP was only $1,135, while in 2011 it hiked to $5,445. Its wealth concentration ranked third in the world with an average annual growth rate of 12.3%. That's double the world's average growth rate. Dr. Feng also said that collecting the inheritance tax could help narrow the gap in income distribution. In 2012, China's Gini coefficient was 0.474. That is higher than the global average of 0.44. It's assumed that collecting inheritance taxes will lessen the disparity in wealth, and then it would lead to a more competitive environment. Dr. Feng also pointed out that it's a good way to curb corruption. To carry out the inheritance tax would require a more clear way to judge family wealth. Some helpful changes would be systems made for property registration, name verifications, and property disclosure for government officials. If wealthy people's assets are registered, then it will be hard to hide the black and gray incomes. Another benefit could be seen in the consumption market. A shift towards long-term deposits could improve the consumption market. She says that it will provide dynamic support for China's economic growth. One differing opinion on the matter comes from Guo Yuanpeng, a commentator on China.com. The website is a popular state-owned social issue site. He said that the inheritance tax won't help settle the unreasonable distribution system at all. There are many reasons that lead to the big gap between the rich and the poor. For instance, many provincial governments sell their land to real estate developers at huge prices. This results in the high cost of real estate. It also leaves consumers with massive debts. This furthers the gap between the rich and the poor. He said the government should not depend on an inheritance tax to narrow the gap. A fair income distribution system is the only way to narrow it. He also said that it will not help the second-generation kids become independent. The inheritance tax threshold will likely be about $800,000 in China. The traditional way for Chinese people to look at wealth is family-oriented. It's assumed that there will be an opposition to the tax, as many families have dreamed of leaving their wealth to their children. Almost 50 countries in the world collect an inheritance tax. This tax could help the distribution of income and increase tax revenues as a result. In order to tax any of the inherited assets, there likely will need to be an established tax system. Another factor will probably be a greater willingness to give up inherited wealth from the rich and powerful.